Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, known as Pompey the Great, was a towering figure in the final decades of the Roman Republic. Born in 106 BC, Pompey's life coincided with immense change in Rome. His military genius and ambition propelled him to the forefront of Roman society. Pompey's story is one of ambition, triumph, and tragedy. His family was wealthy and influential. His father, Gnaeus Pompeius Strabo, was a successful general. The young Pompey followed in his father's footsteps. From an early age, he displayed a keen interest in military affairs. This interest blossomed into a remarkable talent, earning him early recognition. Pompey's early career was closely tied to Lucius Cornelius Sulla. Serving under Sulla, Pompey proved himself a gifted and ruthless commander. His successes earned him the nickname Magnus, meaning the Great. His ruthlessness earned him the moniker Teenage Butcher. This early brutality foreshadowed his later career. Pompey's rise to prominence began in earnest during the tumultuous aftermath of Sulla's dictatorship. Rome, still reeling from years of civil war, faced numerous threats, both internal and external. Pompey, eager to prove himself and capitalize on the opportunities presented by chaos, would confront these challenges head-on. One such threat came from the remnants of the Marian faction, which continued to resist Sulla's authority. Pompey, displaying a combination of military skill and ruthless pragmatism, crushed these rebellions in Sicily and Africa. His victories, swift and decisive, solidified his reputation as a rising star in Roman politics. Another, more unexpected threat emerged from within Italy itself. The slave revolt led by the gladiator Spartacus. The Third Servile War, as it came to be known, shook the very foundations of Roman society. Pompey, recalled from Hispania, played a pivotal role in suppressing this uprising. While Marcus Licinius Crassus, another ambitious Roman general, dealt the decisive blow against Spartacus's forces, Pompey's role in capturing fleeing slaves and quelling the remaining pockets of resistance further enhanced his military credentials. The Roman people, eager for stability and security, hailed Pompey as a hero. Pompey's reputation as a military commander reached new heights with his campaigns against the pirates who infested the Mediterranean Sea. These pirates, operating with impunity, had long plagued Roman shipping lanes, disrupting trade and even launching raids on coastal cities. In 67 BC, Pompey was granted extraordinary powers by the Gabinian law to deal with this menace. He was given command of a massive fleet and granted unprecedented authority over the entire Mediterranean coastline. Pompey, with characteristic energy and efficiency, divided his forces and systematically swept the pirates from the sea. In a matter of months, Pompey achieved what had eluded Roman commanders for decades. He eradicated the pirate threat. His victory, swift and complete, sent shockwaves throughout the Mediterranean world. Rome once again demonstrated its might, and Pompey, the architect of this triumph, was celebrated as the savior of Roman commerce and security. His successes against the pirates only further fueled Pompey's ambition. He now set his sights on the east, where Mithridates VI, the king of Pontus, had long been a thorn in Rome's side. The Third Mithridatic War, already raging for years, presented Pompey with another opportunity to prove his mettle on the battlefield. Pompey's arrival in the east marked a turning point in the Third Mithridatic War. He quickly brought order to the Roman forces, which had become somewhat demoralized under the previous commander, Lucullus. Pompey's charisma, coupled with his reputation for victory, instilled new confidence in his troops. Mithridates, a cunning and experienced adversary, proved a more formidable opponent than the pirates. However, Pompey's strategic brilliance and the discipline of his legions eventually wore down the Pontic king. Mithridates, facing defeat, fled to the Crimea, where he met his end. With Mithridates vanquished, Pompey turned his attention to securing Rome's eastern frontier. He campaigned in Armenia, Syria, and Palestine, expanding Roman territory and influence. His victories in the east brought untold wealth back to Rome in the form of tribute and plunder. Pompey's triumphs in the east cemented his status as the most powerful man in Rome. He returned to the capital in 61 BC, not as a conquering hero, but as a virtual monarch without a crown. The Senate, wary of his popularity and influence, hesitated to ratify his arrangements in the east or grant land to his veterans. This snub would have lasting consequences. Section 5, a triumvirate divided. Pompey, though immensely popular with the people and the army, understood the importance of political alliances. He needed the support of the Senate, to secure his legacy and enact his agenda. However, the traditional Roman elite viewed him with a mixture of admiration and suspicion. To further his goals, Pompey entered into an informal alliance with two other powerful men: Marcus Licinius Crassus, a wealthy businessman who had crushed the slave revolt, and Gaius Julius Caesar, a rising star in Roman politics known for his charisma and ambition. This alliance, known as the First Triumvirate, would dominate Roman politics for the next decade. The triumvirate, though initially successful in achieving its aims, was built on a foundation of shifting sands. Each man harboured his own ambitions and jealousies. Crassus, envious of Pompey's military glory, sought to achieve similar fame on the battlefield. Caesar, a shrewd political operator, used his position to advance his own career, gradually accumulating power and influence. The death of Julia, Caesar's daughter and Pompey's wife, in 54 BC, removed a crucial link between the two men. Her death, a genuine tragedy, also had significant political ramifications. It eroded the personal bond between Pompey and Caesar, paving the way for future conflict. The delicate balance of power within the triumvirate finally shattered with the death of Crassus in 53 BC. Crassus, seeking military glory, led a disastrous campaign against the Parthians at Carrhae. His death left a void in Roman politics, one that both Pompey and Caesar were eager to fill. With Crassus gone, the rivalry between Pompey and Caesar intensified. Both men commanded the loyalty of legions, and both enjoyed the support of powerful factions within the Senate. Rome once again stood on the precipice of civil war. In 50 BC, Caesar, after years of campaigning in Gaul, returned to Italy with his army. He crossed the Rubicon River, the boundary between his province and Italy proper, an act tantamount to a declaration of war. The die was cast. Caesar and Pompey, once allies, were now bitter enemies, locked in a struggle for control of Rome. Pompey, confident in his military experience and the backing of the Senate, initially believed he could easily defeat Caesar. However, he underestimated Caesar's military genius and the loyalty of his troops. Moreover, Pompey's decision to abandon Rome and regroup in the east would prove to be a strategic blunder, allowing Caesar to seize the initiative and garner popular support. The clash between Caesar and Pompey, a conflict that would determine the fate of Rome, reached its climax in 48 BC at the Battle of Pharsalus in Greece. Pompey, despite commanding a larger army, was decisively defeated by Caesar's veteran legions. Pompey, his dreams of power shattered, fled for his life. He sought refuge in Egypt, believing that Ptolemy XIII, the young pharaoh, would grant him sanctuary. However, Ptolemy's advisors, fearing Caesar's wrath and hoping to curry favour with the victor, had other plans. On September 28, 48 BC, as Pompey's ship approached the Egyptian coast, he was lured into a small boat and rowed towards shore. There, in sight of his wife Cornelia, who watched in horror from her ship, Pompey was treacherously murdered by Ptolemy's men. His head was presented to Caesar as a gift, a gruesome symbol of Pompey's demise. Caesar, upon receiving Pompey's severed head, was said to have wept. Whether these were tears of genuine grief or simply a calculated display of sorrow is debatable. What is certain is that Pompey's assassination removed a formidable opponent and cleared the path for Caesar's own ascent to absolute power. Pompey the Great, despite his tragic end, left an indelible mark on Roman history. He was a man of contradictions, a brilliant military strategist and a shrewd politician, yet also capable of ruthlessness and miscalculation. He was a product of his time, a period of immense change and upheaval in Roman society. Pompey's military achievements were undeniable. He pacified Spain, eradicated the pirate threat in the Mediterranean, and expanded Roman territory in the east. He was hailed as a conquering hero, a second Alexander the Great. His victories brought untold wealth and glory to Rome, but they also fueled his ambition and ultimately contributed to his downfall. In politics, Pompey was a complex and often enigmatic figure. He craved power, but lacked the ruthlessness of a Sulla or the political acumen of a Caesar. He sought to be a champion of the people while also currying favour with the aristocracy. This balancing act, though successful for a time, ultimately proved unsustainable. Pompey's personal life was marked by both tragedy and devotion. He was married 5 times, his most famous and perhaps most genuine union being with Julia, Caesar's daughter. Her death, a profound personal loss, also had significant political ramifications, weakening the bond between Pompey and Caesar and paving the way for their eventual clash. Pompey's legacy is one of enduring fascination and debate. He was one of the most influential figures of the late Republic, shaping events that led to the rise of the Roman Empire. His story is a cautionary tale of ambition, the corrupting influence of power, and the fickle nature of fate. Pompey's military achievements secured his place in Roman history. His victories expanded Roman territory and enriched the state. He was a master of logistics and strategy, capable of commanding vast armies. In politics, Pompey's legacy is ambiguous. He forged alliances but lacked the vision to reshape the Republic. His life and death remind us of the human cost of ambition.